Hello, welcome. I'm Jacqueline Broers, Deputy Portfolio Manager for Utilico Emerging Markets. Today, we're going to be talking to Michael, the CEO of InPost International Business. InPost is one of UEM's top 20 holdings listed on the Euronext Amsterdam in 2021, and currently it has a market cap of around $9 billion. InPost is a leading logistics provider and has over 35,000 automated parcel machines across Europe and over 30,000 pick-up and drop-off locations, and for its clients offers an end-to-end logistics services. Michael, as you'll be glad to know, I am myself now one of the avid InPost locker users, because they're easy, convenient and very efficient to use, and with very little faff for me, saving me excessive amounts of time and very much often cheaper than other delivery services. So Michael, what has been the biggest growth driver for InPost?
So as an adopted user of InPost, I think just what you describe is clearly at the core of what we're trying to build. The term we use internally is called customer centricity, but really the pillars of that customer centricity are convenience, cost, and really the ability to sort of take control when you want as a consumer or shopper to sort of use our product when it suits you. We're really trying to ride the tailwinds of the growth of e-commerce, and really trying to provide an alternative today to what is traditionally a legacy to-door, unsustainable model that we don't think is sort of going to, continue in its current format as e-commerce continues to grow. Doubling down on that, if you think about the core users of InPost today and where we're really targeting, you're a good example of a customer, probably someone where time and convenience is a premium for you. You really don't want the parcel delivered to your door and getting that, what I call anxiety, to know you've got the notification, you're not at home or anything else. So we're giving you that control. And the other sort of major adopter for us is sort of those that sort of young and tech savvy. Their usage and frequency of e-commerce is quite high, sort of 2 to 3 times a week. And again, typically that population doesn't live in a single household. They typically live in a shared accommodation, typically in high urban areas. And therefore, getting delivery to door, to a flat or an apartment is also not convenient. All of those factors come together where at the core, we don't want you sitting at home waiting for your parcel or waiting for the courier. We want to give you time back. We want to make it super easy. And really that is the core strategy of InPost, to provide an alternative delivery model, i.e. lockers, in sort of high urban, high footfall, visible locations, and really provide that super convenience that you're after.
That's really interesting, Michael. I mean, like I said, I've been converted, and now I'm very much using the lockers because it is very convenient for me. Poland is, you have a big position or a strong position in Poland, I think with roughly around 45% market share. I mean, where is your next area of focus? I mean, you've been in the UK, anywhere else you're looking internationally?
You mentioned Poland. Poland is our North Star, right? That sort of gives us a great position to target for the international business. And I think what also we've really learned to adapt over the last few years is really taking the playbook from Poland and really, focusing in for what it means in the international market, right? So there's different pillars that clearly we're trying to create, and we want to sort of replicate that track record, but the starting point might be slightly different in a different market because of either the infrastructure, the consumer behavior, or, effectively what locker deployment we have on the ground. In the international market itself, the main focuses are UK and France. That's our sort of an immediate near-term opportunity. One, because of just market potential. If you take sort of the UK and France combined, you're looking somewhere near 6 billion parcel opportunity. Clearly the UK is the largest opportunity within our geographic reach. Two, we have clear definition now. You're an active user. I hope now in the UK, as you've defined, it's clearly we've demonstrated proof of concept, right? And we know the strategy works. We see the scaling. UK is a slightly different starting point because out of home was a low penetration. So, but, and we're still quite early with sort of less than 1% market share, but clearly growth trajectories are high, user adoption is high, and now the unit economics are supporting that. In France, different position. We knew out of home actually was a part of the segment in the market, but clearly the legacy model was a PUDO model. And the PUDO model plays a role, but what we see already with the locker deployment now nearly at 6,000 plus in France is actually just the consumer metrics are far superior. Dwell time in the locker is a lot less. It's like 3 times less in a locker than it is in a PUDO shop. NPS of the customer is super high. And actually the merchant feedback is also super positive. And all of that couples together with really solid, strong, good consumer adoption. And then the final part clearly is we're attacking what I call first mover advantage. We're building out this network and infrastructure, that will serve e-commerce over the next, decade or so and plus. But, clearly getting those key locations, high footfall, visible traffic locations, supermarkets, petrol forecourts, as an example, car parks. Clearly the speed and the model of how we've done that in Poland is replicating in those markets as well.
But growth of InPost over the last years has been, impressive. Over the last 3 years, we've seen the number of APMs increase by over 180%. Your top line, or your revenues, has gone up by 251%, EBITDA 166%, your net income up by nearly 80%. I mean, I know you obviously can't give us total open guidance, but what is your expectations?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, our expectations remain super high. Clearly, yes, I can't give you specific guidance. If I reiterate where we are today in those core geographies, as well as other parts of Southern Europe, the addressable market is huge, right? And that's the way we look at it. We're a disruptor to, this segment. We're competing typically against traditional former state-owned monopolies, as I would frame it. And really our value around consumer centricity, tech-enabled, data-driven platform, really ensuring we're building a sustainable model and ultimately doing it from the cost and convenience benefit for both consumer and merchant alike. To an extent, we're disrupting. International expansion is critical to the business for us at InPost. UK and France is at the priority of that, but we've also saw really encouraging traction in Spain and Italy, and that's been through an asset-light model, right? Because we've really deployed the CapEx there, but we've started the journey now in Italy and Spain, and we're now approaching sort of over 1,000 lockers in each market. And, we've already got profitability already. So critically, we got to continue to gain scale, but we got to do it profitably. And that's sort of our core objective and remain focused on it. So, but in a multi-geographic attack plan.
So what is the biggest challenges you face? Is it trying to grow but profitably grow, or is it growing again the utilization of your lockers? What is the biggest challenge you face at the moment?
I think probably the challenge for us today, pragmatically, is our pace of growth means our organization needs to evolve as equally as fast. Talent is an important critical dependency of how we scale, right? If you look at the organization today, and you look at our top 200 managers across the company who we bring together twice a year now, if we'd have done that 3 years ago, interestingly, I'd say 25% of those people would have been here. It's not because we've gone and changed 75%. It's actually the organization has grown and scaled, as you've just flagged in those numbers. I've recently appointed someone to run the UK business, of which I was doing myself for 18 months. But the example I use there is I didn't want someone that could take the business from 0 to 10. We've already done that. I want someone that can take the business from 10 to 100. That recruitment part is something that we're getting more equipped and really getting that dynamic together as an international company, right? We are a very strong, Polish, group-led company, but at the same time, we've got a really international dynamic mix. We've, Javier has just joined to replace Adam as an example. We got myself and there's others, and I think that's super critical. But always there will be new challenges, and I think the single biggest challenge in making this business model work beyond talent is locations. Now we solve logistics, let's speed up locations again. And a market like the UK is super interesting because there's loads of land in France. I can find locations, but in the UK, like 70% of the people live in a very small space. The interesting thing now in the international market is we're finding problems we never had in Poland. The challenge is also keeping that culture in the company as we grow and scale. So, the danger is you become, the boring corporate, as I like to call it, and that's not in our DNA, and we have to maintain that.
Michael, thank you so much for your time today. Much appreciated. Hopefully today's discussion has given everyone a little bit of an insight into one of UEM's top holdings and why UEM holds the stock. Thank you so much for your time today, Michael. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Jacqueline.